As evening approached at Pine Lake, the sky transformed into shades of orange and pink. Beneath the aged wooden dock, Maya huddled with her skinny arms clasped around her legs. At 17 years old, she appeared younger than her actual age, her unwashed dark hair evidence of 3 days without proper hygiene. Her belly grumbled insistently, a stark reminder that her most recent substantial food had come from a gas station trash bin the previous day. Hidden away, Maya observed an intimidating group of men and women dressed in black leather jackets. Their motorcycles stood arranged in formation close by, gleaming and roaring whenever their engines fired up. Maya recognized them as Hell's Angels, a biker gang she'd learned about from television. The group was hosting a lakeside cookout complete with music and meat sizzling on grills. The aroma of hamburgers and frankfurters wafted toward Maya's concealed position. Her mouth moistened and her vacant stomach ached more intensely. She drew her backpack nearer, sensing the rigid corners of her entire worldly possessions pressing into her torso. The bag contained a spare outfit, a toothbrush with half its bristles gone, $27 in wrinkled bills, a worn paperback novel, and her mother's silver necklace, the sole remaining item from her time before foster care. "I've been surviving alone for 3 days now," Maya murmured to herself. "It's preferable to living at the Grant residence." Her most recent foster placement had proven to be her worst experience yet. Mr. Grant had inappropriate touching habits, while Mrs. Grant possessed suspicious eyes that perceived things that didn't exist. After Mr. Grant trapped her in the laundry area, Maya determined it was time to leave. Since departing, she'd been sleeping in public parks and beneath overpasses, traveling between towns on buses whenever she had sufficient funds, between the gaps in the pier planks. Maya noticed a woman whose long hair featured silver highlights. Her black tank top displayed "Property of Dave" on the rear, paired with denim shorts. The woman chuckled while distributing paper plates to children racing around the picnic tables. "That's Sarah, Dave's wife," announced a gravelly voice directly overhead. Maya's heart nearly ceased beating. Someone stood on the dock, merely feet above her position. Maya remained motionless, holding her breath. "They've been wed for 22 years at this point." The voice went on, addressing another person. "She manages to keep the big guy under control, without question." Heavy footwear thumped on the wooden planks above. Maya flattened herself against the moist sand, hoping desperately they wouldn't glance downward and spot her. If they discovered her observing them, she couldn't predict their reaction. Dave announced that if anybody even glances at her inappropriately, they'll face the entire club. Another voice remarked, laughing. "Do you recall what occurred to that individual in Oakdale?" The footsteps retreated and Maya released her breath. The lake's water gently lapped at the shoreline beside her feet. The temperature dropped as the sun descended further. Darkness would arrive soon, and Maya would need to locate a secure sleeping location for the night. She observed Sarah walking toward the lake's edge. Sarah dipped her toes into the water, then shouted back to the group, "The water's ideal. I'm taking a swim." Multiple people applauded, but nobody accompanied Sarah as she waded deeper into the lake. Maya found herself admiring how the woman carried herself with complete freedom, as though she possessed no anxieties whatsoever. How would that feel? Maya pondered. To experience such security in the world, Maya's own mother had instructed her in swimming at age 5 in a public facility with excessive chlorine that irritated their eyes. It remained among the limited vivid memories Maya retained of her mom before drugs permanently took her away. "Every person should learn to swim," her mother had stated. "Water possesses the power to rescue you or end your life. Show it respect, but don't let it frighten you." Sarah swam farther outward, her arms slicing through the water with fluid movements. The music from the cookout intensified as someone increased the speaker volume. The bikers were conversing and laughing, completely ignoring the woman swimming by herself. Maya's eyelids grew heavy. Perhaps she could rest here briefly. The sand felt soft and the water's sound brought peace. After nightfall, the bikers would depart and she could scavenge through their garbage for food remnants. Then Maya witnessed something that caused her to sit upright. Sarah's arms were moving abnormally. Not the fluid movements from moments earlier, but frantic splashing. Momentarily, The woman's head vanished beneath the surface, then emerged again. Her mouth formed what appeared to be a distress call, but the music volume prevented anyone from hearing. Maya glanced toward the cookout. Nobody was monitoring the lake. They remained unaware of what was occurring. Sarah submerged again, staying down longer this time. Upon surfacing, her movements had weakened. "She's in trouble," Maya whispered, her pulse racing. "That woman is drowning and nobody notices." Maya watched Sarah vanish under the water once more. This time she failed to resurface. 5 seconds elapsed. 10 seconds. The lake's surface appeared undisturbed where Sarah had been, as though she had never existed there. "Somebody rescue her," Maya whispered, looking toward the bikers. The music blared an old rock tune. People chatted and laughed. Nobody was observing the lake. Nobody had witnessed what happened. Maya's fingers clutched the rough pier wood. She ought to remain concealed. These people weren't her concern. This situation wasn't her responsibility. She possessed adequate problems of her own. "It's none of my concern," she told herself. "Don't become involved." Yet the seconds continued passing, and Sarah still hadn't appeared. 20 seconds now. 30. People couldn't survive underwater breathing. Maya understood that before long it would become too late. She recalled her own near-drowning at age 8. Her foster father during that period had extracted her from a pool, more irritated about her soaked clothing than concerned about her well-being. Nobody had genuinely cared whether she survived or perished. Maya looked at her backpack. Her entire possessions were contained inside. Her money, her book, her mother's necklace. If she abandoned it to assist Sarah, someone could steal it. Or the bikers could discover it and realize someone had been spying on them. Regardless, she risked losing everything. "Remain here," an internal voice cautioned. "Stay secure." But a different voice, one resembling her mother's, whispered, "Water possesses the power to rescue you or end your life." 45 seconds now, possibly a minute. No indication of Sarah. With a groan, Maya reached her decision. She removed her deteriorating sneakers and stuffed them into her backpack. Then she pushed the backpack farther beneath the pier, concealing it optimally in the darkness. She inhaled deeply and crawled from her hiding spot. The late afternoon sunlight struck her face as she rose. Without glancing at the bikers, Maya rushed into the water. The lake floor felt squishy between her toes, then descended abruptly. She gasped as the frigid water reached her chest, then her neck. Then she was swimming, heading toward the location where she had last observed Sarah. Upon reaching the lake's center, Maya inhaled deeply and submerged. The water appeared murky and green-tinted. She couldn't see far ahead. Her hands extended outward, contacting only water and aquatic plants. Her lungs started burning, so she propelled herself back to the surface. She swallowed air and surveyed the area. Nothing except ripples on the water. She needed to attempt again. This time she dove more deeply, kicking forcefully to reach the bottom. The pressure caused pain. Fragments of sand and vegetation floated surrounding her. The water appeared darker here and more frigid. Then, through the murkiness, she perceived something pale. An arm, a leg. It was Sarah lying motionless at the lake's floor. Her silver-highlighted hair floated around her head, resembling underwater vegetation. Her eyes remained shut, her mouth partially open. Maya swam in her direction, but her lungs were already demanding air. She needed to return to the surface. Breaking through, she heard yelling for the first time. "Sarah! Has anybody spotted Sarah?" The music had ceased. People stood at the lake's perimeter, gazing out at the water. An enormous man with a dense gray beard was removing his leather vest, preparing to jump in. "She's down below," Maya yelled, indicating the location. "At the floor." Then she filled her lungs once more and dove back down. This time, she swam directly to Sarah's location. As she approached, she observed that Sarah's foot was trapped in something. Old fishing wire entangled around roots and branches at the lake's bottom. That explained why she couldn't return to the surface. Maya's lungs burned more intensely than before. Spots appeared dancing before her eyes, but she reached Sarah and pulled at the fishing wire. Possessed strength and wouldn't snap. It sliced into Maya's fingers as she tugged and twisted. Her chest felt as though it would burst. Just when she thought she'd need to return to the surface without Sarah, the wire released. Sarah's foot broke free. Maya grasped her around the waist and kicked forcefully toward the surface. They broke through into air and sunshine. Maya gasped and coughed. Sarah felt heavy and showed no movement or breathing. From the shore, people were rushing into the water. "Help!" Maya called. Her voice weakened from oxygen deprivation. "Assist us!" The large bearded man reached them first, splashing through the water like a grizzly. His face displayed twisted fear. He grabbed Sarah from Maya's arms as though she weighed nothing. "Sarah, baby, wake up!" he bellowed, transporting her to shore. Other hands seized Maya, pulling her along. Her legs felt gelatinous. Her chest ached from prolonged breath-holding. As they arrived at the beach, she observed the bearded man laying Sarah on the sand. Sarah's skin appeared blue-gray, her body unresponsive. "How much time was she submerged?" someone inquired. "I'm uncertain," another voice responded. 5 minutes, perhaps more. Maya knew it had exceeded that. Considerably longer. The large man began pressing on Sarah's chest. Then he delivered breath into her mouth. Press, 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 breathe. Repeatedly. Surrounding them, people assembled in a circle. Some offered prayers. Some wept. Maya stood on unstable legs, dripping lake water, feeling extremely small among these intimidating-looking people. She thought of her backpack beneath the pier. Perhaps she could depart discreetly now while everyone focused on Sarah. But her legs refused to move. She needed to learn if Sarah would survive. The large man named Dave continued pressing on Sarah's chest. Press, press, press. Then he'd deliver breath into her mouth. He'd been performing this for 3 minutes now. Tears streamed down his rough face into his gray beard. His massive hands appeared strange, being so delicate on Sarah's motionless body. "Come on, baby. Don't abandon me," he kept repeating between breaths. Maya stood back, trembling in her drenched clothes. Water dripped from her hair onto her shoulders. Her teeth chattered, but not solely from cold. She felt frightened. The circle of bikers surrounding Sarah and Dave was tightening. Some of them regarded Maya with harsh eyes. A woman in a leather vest approached Maya. She had cropped red hair and numerous tattoos on her arms. "You're the one who discovered her?" she questioned. Maya nodded, too anxious to speak. "What were you doing in the lake?" I observed her go under," Maya stated, her voice small. "Nobody else was watching." The red-haired woman frowned. "Where did you come from? You're not part of our group." Maya's heart accelerated. She glanced toward the pier where her backpack remained hidden. She needed to escape from these people. They might become angry after learning she'd been monitoring them. Just then, Sarah produced a sound. Everyone turned to observe. It began as a small cough, then a larger one. Water expelled from her mouth. Dave turned her onto her side as she coughed up additional water. "That's it, baby. Expel it," Dave stated. His voice breaking as Sarah's eyes fluttered open. They were blue like the sky. She appeared confused. "Dave!" she whispered. An enormous cheer erupted from the bikers. Dave gathered Sarah in his arms, holding her firmly but gently. "I thought I'd lost you," he stated, his large shoulders trembling as he cried. Someone rushed to retrieve blankets. Someone else contacted 911 on their cellular phone. The atmosphere transformed from frightened to joyful instantly. Maya stepped back once, then again. Nobody was monitoring her now. This represented her opportunity to slip away. She turned and began walking slowly toward the pier. "Hey, hold on." A deep voice summoned. Maya froze. She looked back to observe Dave standing up, leaving Sarah wrapped in blankets with others tending to her. "You," he stated, pointing a thick finger at Maya. "You rescued my wife." Everyone turned to observe her again. Maya wished the earth would open and consume her. She wasn't accustomed to so much attention. "What's your name, kid?" Dave inquired, walking closer. "Maya." She stated so softly he needed to lean down to hear her. "Maya," he repeated. Sarah was submerged for 9 minutes. The physicians always informed us brain injury begins after 4 to 5 minutes without oxygen. But you extracted her and she's awake and communicating. You're a hero. Maya shook her head. I simply observed her trapped down there. Anyone would have assisted. A man with a patch on his vest stating treasurer stepped forward. But nobody else provided assistance. We all overlooked it. You're the sole person who observed and took action. Dave nodded. Where are your parents, Maya? They should be informed about what you did today. Maya looked at her feet. Her toes were muddy from the lake floor. I don't have any, she stated. I mean, I'm by myself. Dave and the others exchanged glances. The red-haired woman from earlier stepped closer. What's your age? She inquired. 17. Maya replied. Jesus. Someone muttered. She's merely a child. Dave examined Maya more carefully now. He took in her skinny arms, her old clothing, the dark shadows beneath her eyes. When did you last eat, Maya? He inquired. Maya shrugged. Yesterday morning. Discovered half a sandwich. The words hung in the atmosphere. Maya wished she hadn't revealed it. Now they'd contact social services. She'd be placed back in foster care, possibly even returned to the Grants. She stepped back again. I should leave, she stated. I need to retrieve my backpack. You're not departing anywhere except to a hospital with Sarah, Dave stated firmly. Then you're accompanying us home for a hot meal and dry clothing. Maya's eyes widened. I can't. I don't. Not accepting no for an answer, kid, Dave interrupted. You rescued my old lady's life. That makes you family. An ambulance siren wailed distantly, growing closer. Family? Maya repeated, not comprehending. The red-haired woman smiled for the first time. The angels care for their own, honey. And anybody who rescues one of us becomes one of us. But I'm nobody, Maya stated. Simply a runaway. Dave placed a heavy but gentle hand on her shoulder. Not any longer, you're not. 9 minutes underwater. It's a miracle Sarah's alive. And you're the one who created that miracle. The ambulance arrived at the lake's edge. EMTs jumped out with their bags and equipment. They rushed over to Sarah, who was sitting upright now, still coughing occasionally, but appearing more alive by the minute. Dave, she called weakly. Who extracted me? Dave turned to Maya. Come meet my wife, he stated. Maya walked with him, her legs still unsteady. When they reached Sarah, the woman looked up with grateful eyes. This is Maya, Dave stated. She's the one who rescued you. Sarah extended a pale hand and grasped Maya's. Her fingers felt cold, but her grip possessed strength. Thank you, Sarah stated simply. Tears filled her eyes. You returned my life to me. As the EMTs examined Sarah's vital signs and prepared to transport her to the hospital, one of them looked at Maya. You should accompany us too, he stated. Anyone who was diving that deep requires examination for complications. She's accompanying us, Dave confirmed. She's with us. Maya felt strange and lightheaded. Perhaps it resulted from diving so deep or from not eating or from all these intimidating-looking people suddenly being so kind to her. Whatever the cause, the world seemed to tilt sideways. I'm not feeling well, she mumbled. Then the ground rushed upward to meet her and everything went black. Maya opened her eyes to brilliant lights and white walls. A hospital. She occupied a bed with rails on the sides. Her clothes had disappeared, replaced by a paper-thin gown. And 4 tube extended into her arm, secured with tape. There she is, stated a voice. Maya turned her head. The red-haired woman from the lake sat in a chair beside the bed. She smiled at Maya. Welcome back, sleeping beauty. I'm Trish. Maya attempted to sit upright but felt too weak. How long was I unconscious? She inquired, her throat dry and scratchy. Approximately 4 hours, Trish stated. The doctor says you were extremely tired and hungry. They're providing you fluids and sugar through that tube. Memory flooded back. The lake. Sarah drowning. The rescue. Is Sarah all right? Maya inquired. She's down the corridor, Trish stated. They're keeping her overnight for observation, but she's doing excellent. The doctor stated it's a miracle. No brain injury whatsoever after 9 minutes underwater. Maya relaxed somewhat. Then she recalled something else. My backpack. It remains under the pier. All my possessions are in it. Don't concern yourself about that, Trish stated. Dave sent some of the guys to search for it. They discovered it right where you indicated. A nurse entered then to check on Maya. She measured Maya's temperature and blood pressure. Looking much improved, she stated. You were dehydrated and your blood sugar was extremely low. When did you last have a proper meal? Maya shrugged. I don't recall. Perhaps 3 days ago. The nurse shook her head. Well, you can eat now. I'll bring you something. She departed the room. Trish leaned forward in her chair. Dave and I conversed while you were sleeping. We understand you're a runaway. We should contact social services. Maya's heart sank. Please don't, she pleaded. I can't return. You don't comprehend. Actually, I think I do, Trish stated. I ran away when I was 16. My stepfather had inappropriate touching habits, if you understand what I mean. Maya stared at her, surprised that this tough woman comprehended so well. That's why we're not contacting anyone, Trish continued. Dave and Sarah want you to reside with them for a while, at minimum until you get your feet beneath you. Maya couldn't believe what she was hearing. But you don't even know me. Why would they want to assist me? Like Dave stated, you rescued Sarah. In our world, that makes you family, Trish explained. And we care for family. 3 months later, Maya stood before the bathroom mirror in the guest bedroom of Dave and Sarah's lakeside house. The room wasn't the guest bedroom anymore. It was Maya's bedroom. Her clothes hung in the closet. Her few books sat on a shelf. Pictures she had captured with her new phone were attached to the mirror's frame. Maya looked at herself. Her face had filled out from regular meals. Her hair appeared clean and shiny. And over her t-shirt, she wore a leather vest with patches. One patch stated AFFA, Angels Forever, Forever Angels. She was an honorary member now. The club had voted on it the previous night. Sarah knocked on the open door. Are you about ready? Everyone's here for the celebration. Today marked 3 months since the lake incident. Sarah had fully recovered and the club was hosting a celebration to commemorate. It also served as Maya's official welcome celebration. I'm ready, Maya stated, turning from the mirror. It just feels unusual, you know? The vest and everything. Sarah entered and straightened Maya's collar. You earned it. Not many people get to be Angel's family without being born into it or married into it. I keep thinking I'll awaken and be back beneath that pier, Maya admitted. Sarah hugged her tightly. This is reality, honey. You're stuck with us now. They walked downstairs together. Through the windows, Maya could observe motorcycles lined up in the driveway. The house smelled like barbecue and beer. People in leather vests filled the living room and spilled out onto the porch. When Maya entered the room, they all applauded. Dave came forward with Maya's backpack, the identical one from beneath the pier. It had been cleaned and new patches were sewn onto it. He handed it to her ceremoniously. Your old life and your new life together in one place, he stated. Maya opened the backpack. Inside were her few old possessions. The paperback book now with a broken spine from reading so many times, and her mother's silver necklace. But there was something new as well. An envelope. What's this? She inquired. Open it, Dave stated, his arm around Sarah's shoulders. Inside the envelope was a document. Maya read it slowly. It was from an attorney. It stated that Dave and Sarah Miller were applying to become her legal guardians until she turned 18. If you desire, Sarah stated quickly. Only if you desire. Tears filled Maya's eyes. She hadn't cried in years, not even when the Grants harmed her. But now the tears came and wouldn't cease. I desire, she whispered. I genuinely desire. Later, as the celebration moved outside to the lakeshore, Maya walked down to the pier. The identical pier she had hidden beneath 3 months ago, hungry and alone. The water appeared calm today, reflecting the late afternoon sun. From here she could observe the location where Sarah had nearly drowned. Water possesses the power to rescue you or end your life, her mother had stated. For Sarah, it had nearly ended her life. But for Maya, somehow it had rescued her. Dave called from the shore, waving her over. Come on, kid. We're capturing a family picture. Maya turned from the pier and walked toward the group of leather-clad bikers who were now, against all odds, her family. The aroma of grilling meat filled the air just like that day 3 months ago. But this time she wasn't observing from the outside. This time there existed a place for her as she joined the group. Sarah placed an arm around her shoulders and Dave stood tall behind them both. The club photographer counted down. 3, 2, 1. Maya smiled for the camera, her hand touching the 2 pendants that now hung around her neck, her mother's silver necklace, and right beside it, her new AFFA charm. Both were components of who she was. Both were components of her story.